Hello coders. In our e-commerce shopping website, today we are going to create that store using Redux-Toolkit, and also we will create that user authentication using a nextauth, because previously we have been done all of this thing like the home page, and also we created that shop page where we are rendering the products according to like the grid and also for the other pattern. And as you click any of the product, it also getting with that particular page with the flag. So this all of the things we have been done beforehand. So today we are going to create our store so that we can actually create the card and take the product in real time. It's broken because I need to create the authentication with it. So today we're gonna create it together. So first of all, if you already finished the first, second and the third part, then you are good to go. Just start with me. And if you're not doing it anything of that, if you're new in the project, then I recommend you to go in that repository. It will be the link, it will be in the description below, and the also previous videos link, it will be also in the description. So now from here I will just copy the git repo, and now I took an empty folder here, and inside this folder I will open my terminal, and then I just need to clone my repository here. So it will be git clone. I will copy that repository link. Now, whenever you are copying any of the repository or forking any repository from the GitHub, by default, there will be no node modules available. So you need to install that all the dependency. Put alice, you see, it's already there. And now we'll go to cd or byt, and we will run it inside our code editor. So it's already opened here. So in my editor, I will open the terminal, and inside the terminal, I need to install all the dependencies. You can go with that Power Bash or the other platform. I will just use that git bash to go with along with it. Now, if you put list ls, you will see all the prime folder is available here and within the file also. So what I will do now, I will just put yarn, because I use that yarn. If you see that I have that yarn log package, and also in the package.json, all the packages I used is available here. So if I put yarn and just enter, it will just install all the dependencies. And if you're not using the yarn, if you're using that pnpm, then you just put pnpm add, and if you are just using npm, just put npm install, and then just remove that yarn.log file. So it will install all the dependencies to run this application. And just for a quick view, what we have is here in the source folder, we have one app, and inside the app, we have that admin portion, which we configured with that Sanity CMS. So it's available here. And after that, we have that our user portion, where actually everything is going to work. In the user, we have the product, we have the shop page, and also we have our own layout and other things. And once you clone that particular repository, you need to do one more part. You need to do it very specifically, and that one is that .env file. So this is my .env file. As you see, I have so many things which you need to implement here. And to just go along with me, you can just feel free to watch the previous video. And here I need 4 things for right now to configure the Sanity. One is that you need to have that Sanity public. Okay, let me just shrink it here. Yeah. So you need to have this few portion here, which is the Sanity public project ID, and next a public Sanity dataset, API version, and API token. So you know how to take that one. So I think if you're following the old video, you already did that. Now I just enter my own credential, and I will simply make that yarn dev. So it will spin in my local server. So let's open the localhost 3000, and I will close the repository, and also I will close my previous project. Okay, the project is running properly. And by the way, if you just go through that to explore a bit, you can just feel free to go in the studio to see how actually the Sanity is working alongside within our application. You can toggle through with that all the data portion in the product data and also the category data. You can edit it if you want it to, and you can add your more structurable product, and also you can modify that schemas to run with along the data you are looking for. So if you just go with that, you can modify this schema, because if you're alongside with me, you know how to do it. So in our today's video, first we're gonna create the store, because whenever we are clicking any of the product, we want to add that product, right? Right now, nothing going to be added because we didn't create any store to configure with it. And to do that one, we will use that Redux toolkit. Again, I recommend you to read the documentation from a top to bottom properly. But if you are following me right now, then it's just go alongside with me. I will just show you what you need to do to just make all the things configured. And by the way, also you can go through it. I think, yeah, with the yarn, we need to install this portion here, which is that Redux toolkit. So let's install here. That's the one thing we need to install to run the Redux, and there is another which we need to React Redux to let's Redux toolkit to access in our React application. So I will take one more terminal here and just install that one. Okay, so now after installing that dependencies, we need to create the folder from where we are going to running our store. And to do that, I will take one more folder within my source directory, and the folder name, it will be, I will just keep the name of Redux just to make it as simple as possible. And the first file we will create is that orb slice.ts. So we are going to create all the slices here. So now let's define make the initial state. So I will just go with that const initial state, and that initial state we will just create one state which is going to be a product data, and that product data, it will be an array of data. Okay, oops, it will be clone. Okay, so that will be array of data. And now we need to implement that export const orb slice, and that slice is going to be that create slice, which we need to import from that Redux toolkit. Let me get a bit bigger. Now actually how we can modify this store and how we can create this store is all are available here in the documentation. If you just go with that and a quick start, you will learn how actually simply you can make the configure store and do all the things from the beginning. But again, I will just go with a quick short view on that, then I will just follow alongside with me. You can work it with that. Okay, so I make that create slice here. Now in that create slice is a function and is taking the object and return parameter. So the name, we'll first give a name here. So the name, it will be orb. And after the name, we will declare the initial state, and that initial state can access the state over here which we declared as the product data. So now we can access that state, and after that we need to define the reducers. Oops, not for the creator, it will be reducers. Okay, so now that reducer is an object. We can pass as many as reducer we want. So first reducer we want to add is add to cart. Now I can actually go and create this store, then show how store is working, but we'll just go with the simple way. So in the add to cart, it will take two parameter, which is that state, and another one is that action. And now we will write the function over here. So what it's gonna do, we can actually make that like state. We can access that state of product data, and from there we will just push that data, which going to be action dot payload. So whatever the action and payload we are going to pouring in, it will be on that. So now of course the TypeScript is gonna just start crying. So right now I'm not gonna specify any TypeScript, because when I'm going to describe all the every other reducers, that then we're gonna explain that. And from here we just export const, and here we will make that add to cart, and that add to cart, it will be a from equal to orb slice dot actions, and then we need to make that export default and orb slice dot reducer. So now we have our reducer done, and inside here in that Redux we need to create one store. So store.ts. Now in that store we are going to connect it. Okay, so how actually we can connect that one? Again, if you're feeling a little bit doubt, what I really recommend you to go and learn everything from that documentation here. As you see, that's the things we have been done. That's the store we need to create actually. If you just can copy all the things and it will work. Okay, so if you follow the documentation, it will be so simple. Okay, and that's the part done. That's one we will do later on. So now we are having that portion. So now we need to pass our reducer here. Okay, the reducer we have been created, and which is the reducer is that. So that one, it will be import orib reducer from, okay, from orib slice. Now we have that reducer. Okay, now in that reducer, how actually we can pass, we can pass with that, give a name which is orib, and then orib reducer. That's it. So our reducer is injected here. So but still it will not work. Okay, if you just go with that in the inspection, I will find that my reducer is still taking the action of the beforehand on the previous one. So if we go in the next route and put auto instances, I believe it will not give any hint right now because still is not implemented. And how actually we can implement? And remember, everything we inject in the route or route, what we actually need to specify in that layout. And now there is a catchy thing is that by default, the Nextjs, all the components and pages is rendering in the server side, but the Redux-Toolkit and the Redux portions, and also whenever we will use that nextauth portion, those libraries is not rendering the server side because it's rendering on the client side. It's a client side application. So we cannot inject directly any client side library here in the layout, in our root layout. Remember, in the root layout, we cannot inject directly. But because if I just, because the next thing is that to use the provider, okay, use the provider and inject it here, because we will use the provider for managing the store and also the session provider for the nextauth, but we cannot inject here directly. So what we will do, we will create a dummy layout. Okay, say layout .tsx, so make it RAFCE. So this is a dummy layout, and we will make that layout as a client-side application. So we will make it, oops, it's my bad, we will make it simply all part, it will be as use client. Now we will inject all of our provider and other things here. So now here by default, everything it will be injected as children. Okay, and that children, what kind of children it will be? It will be children, and that children we will define that TypeScript for that children is that React React okay, that's the properties for the children. And now first thing first, we need to pass the provider. So let's pass the provider. Okay, so we will make it similar with that as the provider, and by default this provider taking a properties which is the store, and inside that store we will pass our store, and this store, which one is that? That's the store we create here with that orib reducers. So now let's save that one. Now this layout we can inject in our layout.ts in the root layout. So what I will do, under the body, don't inject the layout, like don't keep that within the body. Okay, so it will sorry, outside the body, keep it within the body, otherwise it will give an issue for you. So it will be inside the body. Okay, so now I can access my store inside my application, and you see it's compiled properly. There is no error at all, I believe. So it will not be. Okay, it's already refreshed. Let's inspect that one and let's see if we have anything. You need to install that Redux extension for the Chrome, otherwise you will not see. Okay, as you see, we have our product data, so our reducers actually working. Now we can access the store. Okay, so let's modify our store properly, because we will inject all the slices we're going to use at a time, because I already created lots of videos on it, so you may hear about it, how we do it. So I will just go with this quick an idea, so you will understand how actually it's going to be work. And so first thing first, that's the action.payload. Or before I'm going through it, let's just create one slice, create one action to let you see how actually this thing work. So to implement that one, we will go with that our products inside our product. So let's go in the product, and inside the product we have a button, I believe, which see add to bag button. So here we will use that action. So first, before creating that portion also, I want to install one more things, which is the React hot toast, to show the message in the toast. So it will be yarn add React hot toast. And now what actually it's going to be. So first thing first, you need to remember this product, it should be a client-side application, because we're gonna use that dispatch portion. So it will be use client, otherwise it will not work with you. So now we need to use the dispatch functionality to dispatch any action to go inside that a particular store. So it will be const dispatch, and we will use dispatch function to make that, not the function, the hook. So now we will dispatch one action here. So what we're gonna dispatch is add to bag. So let's this one is fine, it will take okay, for the quick view. Actually, remember, for the quick view also we can, because remember, whenever we click in that particular product, is taking us to the single page and giving us that a particular page on that. Okay, let me refresh again, something is up. Okay, as you see, it's taking back to the particular slide. So that's the same thing it's going to be happen also. So what I'm gonna do, I will just create the same functionality here also. So it will be link href. So that's also going to be work whenever we are clicking on that quick view. Okay, let's see if it's working. We click in the quick view. Okay, it's taking us back to that product. So now we can actually dispatch one action here. So whenever we're going to dispatch here, we will not keep it as the link. Now we will create it as a button. So to make it as a button, I will just pass that button parameter. And now here, this href, I'm going to remove that one. And here I will make that a function which will be on click. It will give me an on click event. Remember, don't forget to make it as use client, otherwise it will start crying, because you cannot use that, uses that hooks or any hooks within the server side component. Now what I will do, I will dispatch an action. That action, it will be add to cart, and as you see, I imported it here. So you need to import it. If it's not also importing, you just need to do it manually. So add to cart. Now what actually I want to inject within the cart, I have the product, right? That's the product I'm getting from as a parameter, as a prop. So that's all the product I'm gonna inject here within this add to cart. Okay, and it's not only about that we will add the product, we also going to give a message that this product is added. So for that I will add another parameter, and then I will make that a toast.success, and inside that a success message, I want to pass that a very reliable message which can relate it to be the product. So I will pass that product, and inside the product, from the product I will take the title, and from the title I will make it as substring, so it will not go beyond the toaster, and it will take only 12 characters from the product. And then I will make dot dot, if it's more than there, add it to cart. And still, to let the toast to work properly, which I need to do, already toast is imported, and also one more portion I need to do it to take the toaster portion. So feel free to go to the React hot toast documentation. It's very clearly written there how you can use it. So I will just pass my toaster container here, and I will import it from the toaster. It will just showing here in the bottom right. Okay, so let's go back here, and let's also open the inspect to see if we can successfully adding any products or not. So okay, that's the Oribi shopping, and here it will be our product data to render. Add to cart, as you see, new backpack added to cart, and if you just enlarge that one, you see one product is already added. Now what if we add one more? Okay, another product is added. So it's actually working cool. Okay, I think we are in a wrong portion because it should not add two together. Okay, so let's just make a reload because it's a caching issue with that Chrome. So we will take the spinning with that. Okay, that's the one. Which one actually is coming? Okay, so let's add one more. Okay, it should not take two because we didn't initialize the state. Okay, next router, and we'll make auto instances. Okay, anyway, okay, what's actually we are getting here, let's just see. Arabi and state. Okay, it can be a problem with the like the caching issues, but it should not take the two because I was running my both application here, so it's taking from somewhere. But now I'm gonna tell you how actually we can interact with this store, as we can add more products. So what we will do, I will just initialize my all the slices here accordingly. So first one, it will be add to cart slice. Okay, now this one, instead of passing the directly here all the value, we need to modify it. Like if we have one product, then it will not inject that particular product again. What it will do, it will just increase the quantity. So to implement that one, we will make that const existing. It will be existing a product, and that existing product, it will be we will access that product from the state. So state dot product data dot find, we will find within that product data and that item. Remember, we have one props, which is the types, which is the product types, the similar product we are sending here. So that's the type, it can be defined here. So now item dot id, that item dot id, it should be equal to action dot payload dot underscore id. So whatever we are getting from the action, it's going to be the similar id of that id here. So within that, we're gonna filter it out, we're gonna remove that. So we will just keep extract if it's an existing item or not. So like if we have that existing product, what it gonna do? If we have that we will do that existing product dot quantity, we will increase the quantity, so it will be plus sign and action dot payload dot quantity. So now what actually is crying here, that maybe optional property access. Okay, there should be an error on something. Okay, I'm gonna remove that optional chain. So this quantity does not exist on type, so now we need to create a type parameter. Okay, so now this initial state actually can access the types if we want to give that. So I will make that interface, and then we're gonna pass that store state, and that store state going to be access that product data, and that product data, it will be the product props of array. So array of products props data. So within that initial state, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna also pass that store state. Okay, so now you will see the error is gone. So now what it will do, if the existing product is available, it will just pass that as it will just increase the quantity. If it's not available, it will just make the state.productData.push action.payload. So whatever we are going to pass in the store, it will just take it all the payload it will take, and in the payload what we are sending the product. So it's a very simple. If we have the similar product, the same product within our store, then if we click again on that to add to cart, it will just increase the quantity. If it's not the similar, if it's a new product, it will take entire product to the store. So that's the one thing. And now I'm gonna define that other two, which is going to be increasing quantity and decreasing quantity. Trust me, it's the similar fashion. So increasing quantity, I'm also taking the existing product, and from there I'm increasing the quantity, and one is that decreasing quantity, and inside the decreasing quantity we cannot decrease more than one, like below one. So existing quantity, if it's equal to 1, then it will just keep it as 1. If it's like more than 1, then it will just decrease the quantity. Like if we have the 5 items, then it will decrease 4, 3, 2, 1. If it's in 1, it cannot decrease more. Okay, so that's the 2 more action. So now there we need to define last 2 action, is that delete product and a receipt card. How actually we can delete the product from the store? So state.product data, we will just take that, and then we're gonna filter through accordingly with the item.id, which will be not equal to action.payload. So whatever the action.payload we're gonna send means we are going to send that particular product ID. So it will take that ID and it will filter through all the available products in the state. If it's matched with that particular product, it will filter, it will remove that product and give me a fresh state by removing that product. So that's simple as it is. So now I'm gonna have all my state here, which is going to be add to cart, increasing quantity, decrease quantity, delete product, and receipt card. So now I already made several videos how you can actually make that more convenient, but today I will not go with that much further because we have a lot of things to cover up with that Stripe payment and Stripe webhooks. So now what I will do, I will use that to create one Redux persist, because what is gonna happen if we just add a product here right now, I'm gonna show you to increase that. Let's just get that products here. So what I will do first, I'm gonna show you how actually we can access that. So it's actually we are getting in that page button. So let's go back in the page button. We're gonna access the properties here. Now again, we need to make it as a client-side application as we're gonna access the product from the Redux store. So first thing first, let's access that. So it will be const and there product data. We can just destructure the product data from the store. It will be use selector, which we need to import from React Redux, and inside that use selector we will take a state, and right now we will keep the state name as any. So it will be state.orb, the name we have been provided. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna make a log of that product data. So let's see. Open our inspector. As is a client side, we made a client side component. So what the log, all the log, it should become in that client side library. Okay, let's remove that. Okay, what we did, okay, it's just taking a time to reload because we create a client side component here. Or okay, each child in a list should have a unique creep-up which is in the banner. So we missed that in to add that creep-ups in the banner. Not here in the, it will be in the banner component. Okay, so in the banner, when we are giving all the images here, you see that's the where actually we have been making the mistake. The key, it should be item.id. Okay, so that's the key we need to pass. That's why it was crying with that. Let's hit the reload. Okay, error is gone, and now we have no product in our store. If we add, you see we're having one product here. So now what we will do in that particular page button, where I will just remove that, both of that layout, no need. I'll keep the page button and I'm gonna close the others. Now I can access that product data, so I can find the length here and then I can inject the length overall here. So this is the 0 button. So what I'm gonna do, product data dot length, if that if the product data is available, I'll put a condition. If product data is available, then put that product data dot length. If there is no length, just keep it as 0 and save. So now if we just add it, you see we can have 2 products, but the problem is once we just refresh, that state is disappearing. So it's not saving in the browser side or something. And to implement that, like whenever we're gonna reload, also that data will amplify, it will stay. But before going that one, we need to define the type for that any, which we actually maintain. And to implement that, let's go inside my type.ts. Now here we will define one state for the state properties. So it will be export interface, because we will use it in a many components. So I will declare it from here. So state props, and that state props will contain a name which is the orb, and inside that orb I have things which call that product data, which is a product props of array of product props. So these the things we need to pass. Now instead of putting it an array, we will just define as the state props from the type, and you see the error is gone. So now what we need to do, we need to implement that Redux persist to create that our store should not just disappear once we just reload the button. So it should always be there. Okay. And to implement that, we need to install that Redux persist in our application. So let's put that yarn add Redux persist. So after taking that portion, we need to also get so many things here, and which is that below of that we need to import a lot of things which can be persist state. First things first, persist is I think state, which are from the Redux persist. So along with that, with the Redux persist, we need to take more other things, which is that persist reducer, flash, push, or persist purge. That's all are things you will find everything in the Redux Toolkit documentation. These all things are necessary to implement that browser side or just managing the memory in your application. So that's why we are taking that. So now what we need to do, we directly right now in Nextjs like Nextjs 13.4, after that, or now is in 14. So you cannot inject directly that persist within your application. So what you need to do, you need to create a dummy server. Only then you can inject that. Okay. So to implement that, let's make a function export. It will be a function, and that function, it will be create persist. Oops, it will be persist store. So that's the function we will create, and that one we will be defining that like as a web storage for the parameter to define the types. Okay. And that web storage also we need to okay, web storage, I think that's the one we're using. So okay, that's already amplified here. So now we will just create a server here. That will be a dummy server. So it will be a type of window, and it equal to be undefined. Okay. So now we will return our, we will like returns our, oops, it will be dummy server. Here we're gonna return the dummy server, so it will amplify here. Now if each server is available, what it gonna do, it will return a value, and that value it will give that get item, and that item gonna also amplify as a function, and then we're gonna declare here it will be return, it will pass a promise, and then we're gonna resolve this promise. By default it will be none for the first time. Now if that's the one scenario, okay, so then there will be another scenario, then again it will be or instead of going through it one by one, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just pass that all the value here. That's the similar fashionable work. So if it's server, we're returning that get item, then resolve null first time, then again is the resolve with the promise, and then also return the whenever we are so it's the three value. One is the get item, one is the set item, one is the remove item. And now the final return, which it going to be return, and it will be create web storage. Okay, so that create web storage you need to import from their Redux Redux persist ES storage and create web storage. So from here we're gonna implement here, and we need to mention it by which way it will do, and it will just make it from the oops, actually I believe I created that one when we copy that. Okay, let me just, from where actually it's coming. Okay, that's here. Yeah. Okay, I just need to import that web storage here, that's why. Okay, now I am passing that create web storage from the local. So now we are having that dummy server. So now we will create that our storage, and how we will manipulate that, again it will be a type of window. If it's not equal to window, or like if it's the window is undefined, then we're gonna pass something. If it's not undefined, then we're gonna pass something. If it's undefined, then create web storage, which going to be local. Okay, and if it's not undefined, then what it's gonna do, it's going to make that create persist store. Okay, so that's the function it's gonna run. And now we have that persist config. We need to implement that persist config. So persist, it will be a config. Okay, so in the persist config, we will pass that an object, and that key of it will be the root key, and then we need to specify the version, which going to be 1, and we will get the storage. We're gonna use that storage from here. Okay, we got the storage. Okay, that's the storage we are implementing here. And now also we need to pass one more value, which is going to be a persist reducer, and that persist reducer, it will be a persist. Okay, let me see from where actually we are importing that a persist reducer. It should not import from somewhere. Okay, it's already here. Redux persist, yes, persist reducer, no. So okay, it should be, because we already imported here. That's the persist reducer we need to use. Okay, so this will be a persist reducer, and there inside that reducer we need to pass the variable which will take that persist config, and also will take that orb reducer. And we can give a name of that as a persisted reducer, not a similar name. So now in the configure store, as we have our store, now here we will pass that orb reducer, and within that, in the reducer, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna inject it with an object. It's already injected. So instead of orb reducer, now I'm gonna pass that as a persisted reducer. Okay, that's the reducer I'm going to pass that. And also for the middleware, I'm gonna just pass this function to inject with the middleware. Okay, now I'm gonna remove this portion, it's not necessary, and export let persist store, which going to be like the persist store, and we will pass our configuration, which we did. Not the configuration, the store, actually we need to pass a store. Okay, so now we can use that persist store in our application, and where actually we can inject that one. Remember, we have a file called layout where actually we are passing all the values. So within that layout, below that provider, I will just copy this portion, and here I will pass that as a persist get, which we need to import from that Redux persist integration React. And here I will paste the children. And now we need to indicate the persist to use the effect. So the loading, it's going to be as a null value, and the persistor, it will be the persistor we are using, persistor. Remember, we define a persistor here, which actually we export later on. So that's the persistor we need to implement. So let's hit the save. And after saving it, everything is going fine and everything written properly. If we just add more products and if we reload there, it should not, the product should not be disappearing. It should affect there. As you see, we have that product. So right now, let's go back to our, what you call that, Oribi online shopping. So which one is deployed already? Let's go. Okay, because it's the auth error, that's why you cannot see that. So let's just not waste the time to configuring that one. So what I'm gonna do, we will need to create another page, which it will be our cart. So from there, actually we can show the product and do the other things. So what I'm gonna do, in the user, I will open another folder, which will be a cart, and inside that cart folder, I will create another file, which will be page.tsx, rfce. It will be cart page. Okay, so now inside that cart page, we will not directly inject anything here. because it's as a page, I will also make another card.tsx, which going to be a component RAFCE, and that component we will inject here, because later on you can modify your card data, because the card is better to keep it in a server side rendered. So later on we will inject all other properties here to list how actually it can be modified. So if we now put in by now, we'll be able to go back to the card. Let's click. Okay, now here we are inside the cart. Okay, so now to make things looks perfect, what I'm gonna do, I will take that card within a container. Okay, so in not here, oops, it's my bad, it will be not here, it's the div. So we will inject here in the card. I will close the others, and now it will be a container. Okay, now within that container, remember we can access the products from the reducer, right? Not from the store. Actually we did it already in our one of the portion, which is for the page button. So that's the properties. We just going to copy that, because that's the similar things we are going to adopt that on here. So import the use selector from the React Redux, import the state props from the props. So now we have the product data. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna combine everything here. So first thing first, we will make that things to be in a proper way. We will make a condition. If that product data dot length if it's bigger than 0, then we're gonna pass a div, and if it's like a 0, so then we're gonna pass a div. Oops, it will be a div, and we'll pass a p tag, which going to say no product available. Okay, and here we're gonna pass that product. Let's see which one is actually affecting. Of course we can see the product here. Okay, this function is not supported in a React server components. Remember, we forgot to make it as a use client, that's why it's giving us that error. So just make it as use client. I will hit the refresh button to just leave all the error gone. Okay, now we have our product portion. So the second part we will do it later, which is coming with the message, because we need to amplify that delete portion here. So now what actually I'm going to do is that I will take a div here. It's already taken a div. So now within that div, I'm gonna take another div, then I will pass an h2 tag, and here it will be the products. Okay, so we will implement that design here. So now in the parent div, first one, we will just make a padding bottom of 20, and here in the second div, I will just inject two more things. One, it will be our product, so it will be total 4 things should be available: one product, one price, one quantity, one subtotal. So this 4 is available here. So now in the parent level of the div, I will make it within that as a call span to integrating it properly. So width, it gonna be take a full width, height it going to take 20, and a bj, so the background it going to be like f5, f7, f7, little bit whitish but not fully white, and the text going to be the prime color, and by default it going to be hidden lg. It will be a grid pattern and grid calls of 5. Okay, it will be 5 columns grid, and the place content it will be let's make it in the center, and also we can actually implement that okay, let's see how actually those things working. Let's hit the save button. Anything nothing changes here. Did you save it yet? Yeah, we saved. We just give it a time. Okay, product, price, quantity. So it's actually affecting, you see that price and quantity is right now available. Okay, so now also we will give a padding portion, and that padding let's just give a padding of 6, so it will be in x-axis, padding in x-axis 6, and the text going to be lg, and font going to be semi-bold. Okay, hit save button. Okay, let's see. Okay, now we have this our portion of that one. So now we need to pouring our product here. So below that div we will take another div, and within here we will map through our products. So it will be products. Okay, not the products actually. Okay, we actually take it as a product data, right? So okay, so we can actually map through that particular product data. Okay, product data dot map, and that map we will pass that item. Okay, and we're gonna pass a functionality. We'll pass a div. Remember, don't forget to give the key, which is going to be item.id. And now we will take a component here, and that component it will define as card item.tsx rafce to create that component. So what we will do, we will pass that component here as a parameter, which is going to be card item, and here we're gonna pass that product, or we'll just keep it as item. Simple way, we'll pass that item as item. So we should be able to see 4 card item. So now let's go inside the card item. We will create that card item in a fashionable way. Now in the card item actually there also should be how many properties. Let's just define it, because you see this product, price, quantity, and subtotal. So the 4 position it should be there also. So the first position is that in the card item, first let's take the product here. So let's get that, extract that item, and that item we also declare the type. So it will be interface, and the props. Inside that props we will pass the item, which actually it will be as the product props. Okay, so the item should be take as the properties as props. So now within that we have a div. Inside that we will create another div and 2 more div actually. So now we will go through on that. So first thing first, put a class name with going to be full, and it will be a grid calls of 5, the similar 5 we have been given. And then margin bottom it will be a 4, and give a border, and py should be 2. Okay, so now in that layer of the div, put a class name. It will be a flex. Flex. Right now just keep it as a flex, because now we will define all other properties here. Let's just pour some data here so that you will understand it perfectly. So first I will take one image here, which is going to be from need to import from the next image, and within that image I will put the source, and that source you'll take from that URL for the helper function we have been created beforehand, and that one it will be item.image, and from that we will make that we need to pass that URL. Okay, now with that image let's put an alternative tag. So it will be product image, and just let's put that width of 50 and also the height of 50 to give a good clarification here, and then the class name width of 32 and the height of 32, and object should be contain. Hit the save. So now we should be able to see 4 images here, as you see the 4 image. So now we will render the other properties like for the icon and also the text. Okay, so this is our image. So in the top of the image we will like this image, it's going to be passing within a link. Remember, whenever we click on that link it should be taking us to that single image portion, and that link going to take an href coming with backtick, where it will take that product / then we're gonna pass that item dot I think it's slack dot current. Okay, so now if I'm just going to click any of the image, as you see it's taking us to a single screen page. Okay, so okay, that looks fine. So now in the top of that image I will take one icon, which will be I am cross icon, and that icon, it will be modified to delete that product from that card. So put a class name. Oops, it will be class name, and that one, it will be text should be the prime color, and hover text should be red of 500, and cursor pointer duration should be 300. Okay, let's see is appearing or not. Okay, it's coming that crop, not the crop, it should be the cross. Okay, let's just modify that name. We get the wrong icon. Okay, so the cross. Okay, looks good. Okay, now let's just modify that one in a bit. So which is going to be let's make that flex, and call span should be as a 2 call as a 5, I think. Let's make the call span of 5, and we are giving a grid calls of 5. Okay, let's just go with that. And now whenever we hit an MD, so the call span should be 2. Okay, by default it will take the all parameter and item center, and the gap should be a 4, and margin left going to be 4. Okay, so hit the save. As you see, that looks smooth on that. Now on that div below that link properties, we will take one h1 tag to define that up item dot title. Okay, item dot title, and here we will also make a substring of the title, which is going to be 20. Oops, it needs to be provided also substring. Okay, okay, so and that one, let's put a class name, and a font will make it as semi-bold. Oops, it will be semi-bold. See, semi-bold. Okay, so now you see that looks quite well. So now we will pour the other properties also. So that's the way we finish the first one. So now we will provide a several div. So that's one, it would be that div. Oops. Now within that div, we're gonna pass all other properties. So first thing first, it should be 3 more divs here. Okay, within that div. So 1, 2, 3, and that within that 3 more div, the first div is gonna contain several things. So first, I will just define the class name to go with it in a proper way. So first thing first, put a class name, and it will be a call span of 5. Okay, call span of 5. MD should be call span of 3. Okay, and it will be a flex item center justify between, padding in y-axis going to be a 4, and MD padding y-axis going to be 0, padding in x going to be a 4, LG px going to be 0, and the gap should be 6. Okay, now let's go and pass the other properties. The first one, it will take only a single parameter, or instead of going through a div, what actually, okay, what's the okay, what actually we can do, we can just pass a p tag. Okay, and that we can pass the item dot price, the actual price. Remember, we have that one price component where actually we can show the price, and the amount we will pass that item dot price. Okay, let's see if his price is available. Okay, we got the price, and after that price we need to have another component, like not a component, another div, and within that div we're gonna have actually a span tag, one is span tag, and then it will be one p tag. Okay, then again the span tag, because the first one it will show a plus minus, so it will be for a second one it will be minus, the first one it will be the plus, so increasing and decreasing the quantity, and in the middle we will show that item dot quantity. So if we save right now, we will see this portion, so we need to work a bit on that. So let's go within the top of the div in that portion, class name and width going to be like 1/3, or without giving that also it will work. So make it a flex item center, and the gap should be 6, text going to be LG. the large text. Okay, that looks good. So what I will do, I will prefer to put everything should be in the center. So this portion of the work also I need to make it properly. So let's put a class name, and here I will make that also the similar fashion. So what I will do, for that price portion, I'll pass that class. Okay, so price is little highlighted, and for that span portion I will pass a width, so it will be in the middle, so 1/3. Okay, so right now before styling that, I will just pouring through another div. It will be the similar div of the price, remember. So that's the one. So this div should be here, and it will just pass that item.quantity into item.price. Okay, so now we have two more like one div. So whenever we click here, we need to create that functionality to increase and decrease. So now in this span tag, let's just go and pouring through some class name. Width going to be 6, height going to be 6, and then bj going to be gray of 100, the text going to be 2xl, flex item center, and then justify center whenever I hover, bj gray of 300, and then cursor pointer would be there, duration should be 300, and also we will pass a border of 1 pixel. And after passing that, we'll make a border of gray of 300, and hover border gray of 500. Okay, that's pouring through it. Let's see. Okay, that's cool. It's actually effective and working. Okay, so that's the similar portion of the class name I'm gonna pouring here also in that span tag. Now you can modify those things. If you want, you can put the value you actually looking forward, or just replace it. So now here in this span tag, I will just assign a function which gonna give me that portion of that item is deleted or not, or some other properties. So also I want to show a toast message, so I will get the toaster here, okay, which I need to import from the React hot toast. And also I need to get the dispatch functionality to make the dispatch, and also I'm going to use the dispatch. I need to make it as use client. Okay, so now whenever I click on that minus button, so it will be on click, and I will just hit back one dispatch event. So that one be this, oops, it will be I didn't declare the dispatch function here. Okay, so the const dispatch, which we need to import from that use dispatch here from React Redux. So now we need to pass that even here, so it will be dispatch, and that one it will be decrease, it will be okay, decrease quantity. Why it's not showing? Decrease, oh, oops, it will be a DCREA. Okay, decrease quantity, and within that we will pass an object, should be id, and that item.id. Okay, so now if also for within that also we can inject one another thing is that which we can pass here. Okay, toast dot success product added successfully. Oh no, product reduced successfully. And once we are just passing that event here, it will be increase quantity, and this should be the message added successfully. So now if we click, as you see, is added. If we just decrease, now you see the message is coming, even we can decrease more and more. Now that's your homework. If the value is 1, and when we cannot decrease anymore, it should give a message to just reflect that you cannot decrease less than 1. Okay, feel free to implement that one. But now I can check the value, and as you see, the price and other things is changing properly. So my this view is actually working. Now what actually I want to do more is to create that delete functionality, and that actually going to be effective once we are clicking on that cross. Okay, so that's the similar. I'll just get the bottom one, and here I will pass that variable, and which going to be take as a delete product. Okay, and that delete product should be not added, deleted from cart. And that one, it should not give a success message, toast.info or toast. What you can say, or we will pass success because it's deleted successfully. Click, as you see, flower base deleted from cart. And if we delete another, okay, actually its delete is not working. It's because we are passing the dispatch item dot, so the delete product. Let's go to see the delete product, what actually is passing. In the delete product state.product data, so now we are filtering through that product data.filter item.id action.payload. So now here what we are passing, we are passing also that item.id. Okay, so it should work. Let's hit refresh. Okay, it's deleted, it just didn't give. Okay, now it's looking good. Okay, let's go back to our home page. Sometimes it's just having with a network error, maybe it will not work instantly, just you need to wait a bit, but it will work for sure. So now let's go back to bottom section, or in the, because we have the cart item, so let's go back now in the cart. Inside the cart, so now as you can see, we can actually make that cart item. So now in the cart, after that cart item, as we having the cart item, so below that cart item we can do a lot of other things. So that's the div. So put a class name empty of 5. I'll just make that in a margin top from the 5 to, okay, now after that div we will define the other portion, which is going to be a button, and that button, it will be marking as receipt card. Okay, receipt card, and put a class name, padding in y it will be 2, px going to be 10, and background it will be red of 500, and then text going to be white, and the font going to be a semi bold, uppercase of course, and then margin bottom going to be a 4, and whenever it's hover it will be red of 700, and then the duration going to passing as 300, because within that button once we click it should delete all the products. So now let's make that as an on-click event, or on-click function should be handle receipts. So let's just call that function in the top layer. So we'll go in the top here, we will declare that function. So that one, const handle reset, and within that handle reset, what we will declare is that we will just get a confirmed message, confirmed. So that confirmed, it will be related to window.confirm. So that is going to pass a message, are you sure to reset your cards? Okay, so that's the is a surety message for the people if are they really going to delete the card or not. And now we're gonna inject. First we're gonna take the dispatch properties, because we will inject the dispatch. So const dispatch should be used dispatch from React Redux. Now we will pass a condition if confirmed, or we just make that confirmed and we will pass that properties. If it's confirmed, then we're gonna dispatch that event, which is going to be receipt card, and also the receipt card, and then also we can show one toast message, toast.success that it should be card receipted successfully. Okay, so that's the message we need to pass. If we put receipt card, okay, are you sure to receive your card? If it's okay, the product is available. So now we can pass a message for like we don't have product and some other subsidiary. So to implement that one, I will use framer motion effect. So once we delete the product, it should come with a very good simple effect on that. And to implement that one, let's install that framer motion, which will be yarn at framer motion. And we are going to implement it here in the bottom. So let's just do it. And first, in that div, we need to take on image here. So that image, and that image going to be, because in the assets we should have one image here. Okay, what's wrong with that? Okay, there is something wrong. Okay, I think. Okay, let it just go with this course. First, let's go back to the asset, and in the asset we should have one image. As you see, empty cart, that's the image we are going to use here. So let's import that, import, and it will be empty cart from assets empty cart. So we need to like trigger the source here. So that want to be source should be empty cart image, and then alternative tag, it should be empty cart, and let's put some class name, and that class name, it will be width going to be 80, rounded LG, and padding should be 4, and mx auto. Okay, also need to import that image. It will need to import that from the next image. So now we will see that image. You see the image is available, and after having that image, we will wrap it within the motion div. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just cut that all and put motion dot, it will be motion dot div, and we're gonna inject it here. Let's import the motion. Okay, it will not be imported here like that. So now we need to import, interject the motion directly within our application. Also, it will be like import. It will be import and motion from framer motion. Okay, so now we need to specify what kind of motion effect we want to show. Say it here. First, give a class name flex and flex column, because we will have some other properties, and md, it will be a flex row, and justify center, item center, gap, it should be a 4, padding bottom should be 20. And now let's specify how the motion it will affect. First, in initial value, it will be y should be 30, and opacity should be 0. And whenever it will start animating, that y should be 0 and opacity should be 1, and then the transition, it's going to be duration of 0.4. okay, so it will come up with a pretty simple effect. If we just reload that one, you're gonna see that. Okay, as you see, it's just simply coming top to bottom. Now below that div, so the image div, or you can just put the simple image there. I will add another div, h1 tag, which will say as your cart feels lonely. Okay, and after that also I'm gonna pass another message within a p tag to identifying that what, just to give it a little text pattern to make it more interesting. Now in the div, in the class name, for the h1, the text, it will be XL, and the font is going to be bold, and we will make it as uppercase. And below that we will add a button, and without keeping a button, I will just add a link actually. Okay, and that link, it will just passing with an href tag, href, which will take us back to the home. Now let's specify some class name on it. Before putting the class name, it will just say as continue shopping. Okay, so put some class name on it. It will be background color, it will be prime color, okay, rounded MD, and cursor pointer hover bg will be black, and active, it will be a bg, it will be gray of 900. Okay, so okay, and after that, padding x, it will be 8, padding in y axis going to be 2, font it will be semi bold, and text going to be LG, and text it will be gray of 200, and hover text going to be white, and duration going to be 300. Let's save it. Okay, hover text not wrap, it will be white. Okay, so now if we just go with it, you see it's actually working, but the design is broken, so which we need to amplify. So that's the text over here, that's the div we are interjecting. So now okay, that's one div, flex call, and we give it an MD is a flex row. Okay, or what if we just make it a flex column? No need to keep it flex row. Okay, so I think okay, that one it was fine, I believe so. Maybe we missed something somewhere. Okay, that's the one we need to implement a bit here. And yeah, so this the div which we didn't work with that, so we need to implement some class name on that, which going to be max width of just give a 500 pixel, that's normal setup, and padding should be 4, and also padding in y should be 8, and bj going to be white, and flex in column gap should be 4, and item center rounded MD, and also we'll make a shadow of LG just to make it a little bit better. Okay, if we make any small devices, okay, that looks fine. Let's go to make some more shopping. So continue shopping here and put some more item on the bag. Let's see how it's reflecting. If we just go to see the cart, let's make it smaller devices for, okay, that's convenient. Okay, so if we reset, it will just we can reset all together, and you can see the message is coming. So now add more products here, because we need to add one more button here with the details for our cart. Okay, so that's the things going to be implemented in the cart page. So let's go back to the cart. So we are already here in the cart. Okay, so after the receipt button we have implemented, after that we need to work on a bit. So let's go to where we use that button. So that's the handle receipt button here. So below that we will just take a div here. So in the div we will make one more portion, so we'll take another div within that div, and here I will make an input value. So input the type, it will be the text, and we'll just make a simple input value. So how we can see that, so it will be the placeholder, it will be coupon number, and put a class name on that. So the class name, it will be width going to be 44, and this what you call that, LG width going to be 52, and padding okay, let's give a height of 8, padding x-axis going to be 4, let's put a border, and text going to be prime color, and text SM, outline none, and border should be gray of 400. Okay, so we will see one text field which saying that coupon, and after that input we will be a p tag which will be apply coupon. Okay, so that p tag we will just make a simple, pass a class name which going to be text going to be LG, and font going to be semi bold. Okay, so apply the coupon is injected. Let's put a div in the class name, flex item center, and the gap will be 4. Now you can modify that coupon, you can inject whatever the things you want to pour into it, but I will just keep it simple for right now. So now here I'm gonna have another div. First, in the top layer of the div, I will just put some class name which will be max width, which going to be 7 axle, and gap should be 4, flex justify and margin top going to be 4. Okay, so now here in that div I'm gonna put an h2 tag which going to amplify that cart totals. So let's see where actually is showing. Okay, that's the cart totals, but it's injected on that pretty much everything all together. We need to be specify on that. Justify, let's put between. Okay, looks good. Okay, justify between is working fine on that. So now what we will do in that h2 tag, let's just put some class name on that class name, and the text going to be 2xl, and font going to be semi bold, and text going to be right. And in that particular div we will put some initial class name on that for the class name, and that will be width going to be 96, flex it will be in column, and the gap should be 4. So after that h2 tag, let's just drive through, create a p tag here which are going to be inject that subtotal. Okay, and inside that p tag I will take another span tag which will define the total amount, and for right now I'll just put price, and that price is going to be injected that amount of, like, give it 100 just to see how it's appearing. Okay, subtotal is appearing here 100 and looks better. So now this is our overall div here, so we can work a bit on that. Actually, I think I made a wrong approach to implement that one, because that coupon and those things, it should be appearing in that here. So apply coupon, after that it should be implementing that here with that car update that. So the apply coupon, this one div is finished here, and below that div should be a p tag. Okay, let's put a p tag which is going to be update cart. So let's see if it's showing. Okay, update cart. Okay, now it's going to be working. So what I will do is that I'm gonna just comment that 2 things here, because these things I need to make a bit in a good way. So now what is happening, so this is my overall the div. Okay, so now in that particular div, what I'm gonna do, instead of keeping that, I'm gonna remove this portion, so it will be flex. By default gonna be flex column, md should be flex row, and then justify between should be border, padding in y should be 4, or just give me a padding of 4 in both axes, and then item center, it will be item center, gap should be 2, md gap will be 0. Okay, now let's see. Okay, that's the coupon portion is done. So this div is done. So now below that div, so actually I commented something here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove actually, so you're gonna create it again. So that is the div in that layer which is giving that update card, and after that div I will keep another div where actually I will inject this portion which will be card totals. Okay, so let's put class name here, class name, and here it's going to be, how we can say, it will be max width of 7 axle, and give a gap of 4, and the flex justify should be an end, and empty going to be 4, margin top. Okay, now you see we can see the card details. Okay, over here in that particular portion, I will just take it within a div. Okay, so let's save that one, put a class name width of 96. I'll make it a flex in column portion, and then gap it will be 4. If you are having doubt, we are going to make this portion actually, so that's the one we are creating right now. Okay, so now after that h1, up of that h1, we'll make that some class name. Actually it's I should not be for that, it should be in the top layer. It's my bad, I keep it here, so this will be here. Now in the h1 tag, let's put a class name, text going to be 2XL, and a font going to be semi bold, and text going to be right. Okay, you see the color totals is available. Now after that h1 tag, I will take a div, and then I will pass that as a p tag, which is going to reflect a subtotal. And after that, let's inject an h1 span tag, so it will be amount. Not the amount, it should be that price tag we used before, which will combine with that amount. Let's put 100. Okay, we can see the amount. So in that div, we need to work a bit here. So here, let's put actually I will just keep it simple as it. I will make the class name here, so it will it will be class name. It will be flex item center justify between, and let's put a border of 1 pixel, and then border of gray of 400, and border it will be border bottom of 0, and padding in y-axis going to be 1.5, text going to be large text, and px going to be 4, and font going to be medium. Okay, as you see, the subtotal looks good. So within that way, actually we can now create all other properties. So now we need to have a 3 portion, so it's a similar fashion. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just drive that one. So this one, it should be amount, sorry, not the amount, should be price. Okay, and then the amount, just put 200, just to show you that how actually it's working. So again, the price, it will be amount 500. So now we have a 3 value. Okay, so after that we can make that button to proceed to checkout. So in the below of that particular div, we're gonna just take another div, and then we'll make a button inside that button, which going to be proceed to checkout. Okay, so in that div, class name flex justify and for the button, put some class name which going to be 52, and height going to be 10, and bj should be prime color, text going to be not a wrap, it will be white, and then hover bj will be black, duration 300. Okay, so now we need to get that amount here. Okay, so how actually we can pass that amount? Remember, we have that total amount portion here, which actually we're getting from the product. Okay, so that's the one we're going to implement right now. Let's just get back those things here. So from that product data, actually we can pass that value here. So below that, we're gonna get an use effect event to get actually the prices, because that price can be changeable. Okay, so that's why we will inject on particular fashion. And first, let's put an empty variable here. So we need to declare several state, which going to be, I'll just get one state, total AMT, which gonna be set total AMT, total amount, and by default it's going to be use state. We'll just put it as 0. I'm not going through the shipping address, shipping amount or other. I'll just get the price is in a good way, so equal to 0. Okay, so now we'll make through that product data dot map, and here we will pass that item, and with that item what it will be, the price. It will be, so we will plus all the item dot price and into item dot quantity. Okay, and from here we're gonna return that price. So we are returning the price here. So now we can actually get the price. So this price, it will be implemented here. So it will be set total, and the total is going to be price. Okay, so now we are having that price effect here. So whenever any product data is changing the price, it will be just injected here. So now what I will do here for right now, to make it in a very simple way, for the shipping address, I'll just keep it simple to nothing. And for the amount here, I'm gonna just reflect with the amount, because if we don't have any shipping address amount, so it will be just normal amount. So it will be total AMT, and here also I'm gonna pass that total AMT. Okay, so now you see we have okay, subtotal is not coming. So let's go back here in the okay, I keep it in the wrong way, the subtotal. So this one, it should be 0, and this one will be total. Okay, 0. Now let's see, we cannot get any amount here. Is showing us as a 0. It means our function which we have been created here in the top layer is not working the way it's supposed to be. So we predicted to get let the price is 0, and from here we are returning that price into item.quantity, and we are making set total is the price. Okay, let's just check why it's not getting. So put a log, it will be total AMT. Okay, in the console we are getting it as 0. So now what's actually is happening, we are getting that as amount, total amount, and set total amount, we're passing it as a 0 value. So the price is, we are passing is 0, and from the product data we are mapping through it, we are passing all the item, and price, it will be item dot price into item dot quantity. So let's make that see log price, and if we can see the price here, no, it's 0. Okay, so let's make a log here item. Let's see what's actually happening to be in the item. Okay, I believe we have some issue here, so you can see the item. Just make a reload here. Okay, actually it's working. It's just having to, you need to just make a reload. Okay, that's some problem with, sometimes it's having a problem with the caching things in Nextjs, but it's working just fine. So we have our these possibilities now. Now we will create through that with the proceed to checkout, and we should have our checkout portion should be done. So before going in a further way, we will implement that our nextauth authentication here. So now to implement that authentication, we will use that nextauth authentication. First, let's go back to our home page. So after creating the authentication, we're gonna go with that checkout portion. So whenever we click on that profile, it should create that function to make that. So before we are going any further, first thing first, you need to just go back to that nextauth documentation. So it will be nextauth, and here you're gonna find every single thing. To just click on get started. For I'm using yarn, so I need to install that dependency here. So just let's install that, and here you will find how you can create on that in the page directory. But for the app, they will have like a limited documentation here. So just search in the Google and other way, you will find so many documentation are already provided by various people. But for me, you know, you just can stick with me and I will show you how to make it done. To implement that, I need to create a folder here called API, and within that folder I need to create another folder which going to be auth, and after within that folder I need to create one special file which will be nextauth. So next auth, and now within that folder I need to create a file which will be route.ts. so now here I'm gonna get all the things to be done. So I will just get a variable which will be auth options, and this auth options will take an object, and here I will pass my providers, which will be an array of providers. So I will just take all the providers, so it will be like the GitHub providers, Google providers, or and so many providers you can declare as the way you want. So I will just pass that GitHub provider is a function taking an object with a passable variable, and it will take the client ID and client secret. So what I'm gonna do, interject all the provider here. Now I'm not gonna elaborate it proper in a long way, because there is a lot of videos where I actually mention how you can create the auth authentication. The link you will find in the description, or you can find in a pop-up in somewhere. So it will be help you to learn from the beginning that how actually you can modify and you can use it. But for me, it just go through it and it will just save the purposes. Now you see process.env, GitHub ID and GitHub secret. Here you see in that env file I have that next.url, next.secret, which you need to implement, otherwise it will not work. And for the next.auth URL, I will just provide my URL, and to generate a next.auth secret, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna just write that one command which will help me, or actually you will find that in the Nextauth documentation, or you can just type any random text which actually can generate that one. There is a very easy way to get that secret command. So it will be like put that open SSL, and then open SSL, put a random number which is going to be base of 64, and the number will be 32 bits. So now just copy that entire text. Just don't copy you can copy all together all over the text, then just paste it here, just remove that equal sign, that's it. And also for the GitHub secret and Google client ID, I told you there is several videos where actually I show you how you can create those things. For me, I will just get with my previous value with my from different applications. So that GitHub ID secret and client ID and Google client secret, I'm gonna use that. Now in that route.ts, I need to implement one more positioning here. So it will be, I will need to declare a handler which going to be nextauth, which need to import from the nextauth React, I believe. Yeah, nextauth next actually, not the React. So now here I need to pass my auth options. So after passing my auth options, I need to export that one. So I need to export that handler as get and handler as post. So for the both purposes I can use that. So now I have the handler and I need to inject it in my application. So I need to create a session provider. Again, I already create a dummy layout. Remember, this is also a client-side application. Now within that layout, I can actually inject my session provider. So I'll just cut it and put that session provider, just pass the variable. So now I can access those things. So let's go back to my what you call that, it's a page button here. So in that page button, I need to write that functionality to make the sign in portion. So instead of that link, I will just create it as a button, because I need to implement that on click event here. So let's pass an on click event. Oops, it will be the button. So it will be an on click event, and that on click event, it will give us the sign in functionality, and that need to be imported from that nextauth React. So let's hit the save, and just for the overshadow, it's better to just kill the command and run again. Also it will work if you just make it as a refresh. So let's click on the profile. As you see, we're now in the sign in page, and let's click on the sign in with a GitHub, and you see we're turning back. So now we can actually access those data here. So how we will access that? So it will be data which going to take back from the session, and it equal to be use session. Okay, so use session. So now we have the data, so we can actually write two more functionality here. Like once we have the session image, there should be something, or no image, there should be something. So like once we are logged in, we want to show the image. If we are not logged in, we just want to show the icon. So that's just a dummy configuration which we need to create. So here instead of passing that switch account icon, so I will just make that if a session.user is available, then I will pass something. I will pass an image which will come from the next image, and otherwise it will be that particular thing. Okay, and that image, that's the similar fashionable of image which I need to get from there. So that image going to be coming from that session.image. Okay, let's hit the save, and once I hit save, there will be an error should be appearing here, which will inject me to not to implement those things, and it's because coming from that next from the next config file. So as you see, there is a file named is the nextconfig.js. Here we need to, as you see, we already specified that sanity, so I will just copy paste that one. Then I'll just get another one for that avatars GitHub users content.com, and let's just refresh that one. If it's not working on you, just kill the terminal and open it again, and sometimes it's also working with the refresh button. So as you see, it's we just reloaded, and if we click, you see one image we can see now. So now for the other portion, because we have the two image here running, so if you did the properly the first attempt, so it should be generating and that image also. So we will just put that condition also here, so the both image will just come with the condition. If the login is there, the image will be there. If not logged in, then the other portion will be there. So now also need to show one button here to implement the logout portion, and to get that we'll just go to our navbar. So let's go in the navbar. Here also is a client-side application, so we can actually get the session data here too. So let's click the session, and it need to be injected from use session, and after that we will write that condition here. So this will be something called like, if we have the user, then we need to give something. If we don't have the user, then it will pour something. So now we map somewhere. I think that's the one we did for the nav list. We create the mapping function. Now here we will pass a condition if the session dot user is available. So we'll just put an and. Then we want to pass a button, not the page button, a button which give us that of logout. So now let's put a class name which going to be flex over font medium. Okay, we will give a width of 20 and the height of 6. Justify center, item center, padding in x-axis going to be 12, and text going to be gray of 500, and then hover underline. Okay, and let's save it. Let's see how it's actually looking. Okay, that's the logout. So we can specify some more separational design. So underline, and the underline offset going to be a 4, and decoration, not the slice, we will just make it as 1 pixel, and hover text red of 600, md border r should be 2 pixel. Okay, 2 pixel, and then border are gray of 300. Okay, duration of 200. If it's a last, border r should be 0. I think that's the similar okay, I think border r is not required here, as it's going to be the last one, that's for sure, or I'll just keep it for right now. Okay, so now if we click on the logout portion, if we just click in the logout, as you see, it will, okay, just okay, we didn't create the functionality here, so we will create an on-click event. So now if we are in the sign in, it will just make the sign out event, and I need to import that one from nextauth. Okay, yeah. So now if we click on that logout, what it will do, it will sign out our application from there. Okay, so let's go and sign again. Profile, so open with the GitHub. Now again, if we click here, it will just take us to the sign in page. Okay, we need to forbid that one, because if we sign in, it should not take any clickable event. So how actually we can do it, we will modify that on click functionality, where actually we define that sign in. So here we will just make is that if no session dot no user is there, only then we will pass that sign in. So if there is a session, if we click, it will not take anywhere. Okay, or you can pass one message, which is that you can just pass that like that, could be toast dot error. Okay, you are already you are signed in. Okay, just to make on that, or you can just direct it to see your profile page. It depends on you how actually you want to show the message. So we use that, I think somewhere we use our toaster, so just reflect it from there. And I will actually, did you use that here? No. Okay, let's import that toaster also. Now if we click, you see you are signed in. Okay, cool. So now this is the portion, and it's very simple to do it. Now there is two more things we need to do. Whenever we click here, there should be a searchable. We can search through all the products. And one more thing is that is pending is to create that checkout portion for with that here. Okay, and also because if we are not logged in, we can also view the cart page, which we should not. So we will use a middleware to just get forbidden that if you are not logged in, you should not use that, you should not visit that cart page, and also so many other profile and other things you should not visit. And then we will create that checkout portion. So in this video, please cover up with all of this. So in our next video, the final one, we will cover up with our payment integration, and then we will deploy to Vercel. And for today's, whatever the changes we have been created, don't worry, I'm gonna push that all through the Vercel, no, all through the GitHubs. And before doing that, I will just remove my credentials from here. Then I will just put that git add and git commit so it's a part 4 done, and git push. So if you don't have the things in your arsenal, you can just clone that and you can use it. So I think it can really help you to create something more advanced level wise into making a good e-commerce website. So again, I'm saying try to manipulate the design, try to create the way you feel preferable and use your own creativity, but the functionality, you can do it the way I prefer, and it can work for you too. And if you want to change it, do the changes the way you feel better. Especially using that Sanity Studio, you can be more creative on it. Okay, you will not find it because I closed my terminal. Oops. Okay, so feel free to do that and make it good for you. Okay, so all the best. We'll see you in the final part in next video.